Race fans, good evening and a very warm Elite Racing Network welcome to the Queen City. We are live from the famed Charlotte Motor Speedway for the penultimate round of the 2026A Infinity Graphic Designs Dev Series season. Tonight, these drivers will be knocking on the doorstep of stock car racing with a 100 gut-wrenching laps under the lights at this fast but tricky quad oval. I'm Cameron Rich here in the booth with Mc Intosh and Chris Wright bringing you the camera shots as always. Some track facts on the screen there. This quad oval looks like Texas and it looks like Texas and Atlanta does not drive like either of those. Temperatures outside tonight, 82 degrees with 30% humidity, and that should should play for some tire wear tonight. But for Charlotte, a cornerstone of American motorsports since 1960, this facility has hosted everything from NASCAR to IndyCar to even sports cars. Larger-than-life icons like Petty, Earnhardt, Gordon, and Johnson all built their legacies while winning races on these hallowed 24-degree banks, which have remained constant over the years. Last repaved in 2006 with a controversial blend of rubberized asphalt intended on lasting for a generation that has thankfully not been proven true, as the surface now exhibits many bumps, humps, and lumps that make it much more exciting for us and the drivers alike. A quick little recap of last week. We were right up the road in North Wilkesboro, and Gavin Higgins captured his third checkered flag of the season, further elevating his monumental rise through the standings up to the almost very top there. He starts tonight's race just 6 points behind series leader Caleb Pecumer, who, after some mid-season struggles, appears to be getting back into his groove right at the right time there. And he's actually fastest in qualifying as we come through. Actually, well, no, yes, he is. My timing and scoring had a bit of a freak out there. But him and Gavin Higgins both have 3 wins of the season. Neither will be back for next season's ARC competition, so pressure is high on them to make it count tonight. There's your formats on the screen. 100 laps, 3 sets of tires in the pits. Should be no problem whatsoever for these ARC cars to make 100 laps with 3 sets of tires. Really 4, because you get the set you start the race on. So, Ty, what are we looking at tonight with the mindset shift coming from North Wilkesboro, the half-mile short track, into tonight's 1.5-mile quad oval?
Well, I think there's a lot of different mindsets, right? You're looking at the guys that are a little bit further back in points, that 2 races to go, they're going to need a huge night tonight. You look at somebody like Caleb Pecumer, who is coming off of his first Cup Series victory while still running in the ARCA Series, winning here at Charlotte in the World 600. That is absolutely huge. What momentum that is for him, starting on the pole tonight. So he's looking to keep that points lead and extend it. You look at guys like Noah Brown, who might not have a chance to fight for the championship, but they're still going to try to drive their butts off tonight. There's a lot of things I'm looking forward to. I think it's 100 laps. We're going to see some guys try to save some tire, burn it up a little. You know, I'm sure it's going to happen, but nonetheless, why don't we get through the starting grid?
Yep, on the pole is Caleb Pecumer, that aforementioned Charlotte World 600 winner from last Wednesday. Big win for him, first Cup win, and that's got to give him a bunch of momentum coming into tonight's race for looking for that first championship. David Westergreen, he starts second, good run for him in qualifying. Dominic Wright, third, I believe that's his first start, or best start of the season. Harrison Talion up there in fourth. Gavin Higgins, fifth. He is the main championship contender to Caleb Pecumer at this point. Bryce Fody, sixth. Jimmy Hayden starts seventh. He's up there in points. Andrew Howard-Castle is eighth. Austin Anabnett, ninth. James Watson, 10th. Kel Pocock, 11th. 12th is Dave Carpenter. And we'll scroll down here just a little bit. Lucky 13th is Dylan Javier, and Jaden Racimas rolls off P14. Ty.
Going to be 15th for driver number 61, Pierce Hausler. 16th for Samuel Malone, 17th Scotty Larson, 18th for Nigel Stock, Michael Goodman 19th, Dave Huckleberry 20th, Corey Abbott 21st, Frank Fody 22nd, Josh Osborne 23rd, an announcement from him we'll talk about in just a second, 24th for Jacob Adams, 25th for Noah Brown, 26th for Mark Rebelos, 27th Shay Mitchell, and Blake Wise, I believe, is having some network issues. He is qualified 28th. Will he start the race? We're yet to find out, but he's had some network struggles all practice that have plagued him. He's also had just a little bit of a rough run to the season lately, a couple tallies. He's going to be serving an EOL if he does start, which, looking at it, he is on the grid, not blinking at the moment, but iRacing, there it goes. I jinxed it. Yep, okay. Terrible person. I just need to shut my mouth. The announcement that we were talking about, Josh Osborne made the Discord earlier, announced it to everybody here, switching to Toyota, so good for him. It's going to be a good change. A lot of these guys, I feel like this is kind of a Chevy dominant series, I won't lie. There is a lot more Chevys out here than I was expecting.
Yeah, we need some of those Chevy Rams they had in ARCA at Daytona, those kind of blacked out Chevy grills. Obviously, they're not they don't want you to know that it's a Chevy, even though it's obviously a Chevy. sponsored by Ram. Anyway, yep. One pace lap here, thankfully. So we should be getting going green here right out of turn number 4. I wanted to bring up Caleb Humer's big win. First Cup win in the 600 miler there on Wednesday. A huge way to do it. And, he didn't back into the win at all. He drove up there, drove through the field, got to the front, and actually just looked very strong and dominant. So kind of showing the progression. Caleb Humer, he's been in the league for about 4 years at this point, I believe, and kind of showing that progression up to the Cup Series to be a winning driver, and it starts and is harnessed here in the Elite ARCA Series. So made a note that he and Gavin Higgins definitely will not be back in the series next year. They have met their win limit, and Gavin Higgins already actually announced for race controlling for next season. But so here we are out of turn number 4. Green flag is out, and there they are away to start the 100 laps here at Charlotte. It's a pretty good restart. A little bit mixed up in the back there, but Caleb Humer gets himself positioned well into turn number 1, takes the lead by himself. And now it's a battle for second between Wright and Westergreen there on the top side. And I would definitely assume or expect here in a couple laps for that outside line in turns 1 and 2 to come into play. But right now it is dominant line focus right now. First 3 cars, single file back to Dominic Wright there. Harrison Talion on the outside trying to make something happen. But Gavin Higgins, he's 3 wide for that position down on the bottom of the racetrack, and might have a lot more loose in the hairy there going into turn 1, but makes it stick there under the 12.
Ooh, Austin and Abnett slides up, makes contact with his teammate. That's going to put them 3 wide with James Watson down the back straightaway. Andrew Hardcastle. Austin and Abnett's going to slide through. They're still going to be kind of 3 with Andrew Hardcastle. I was going to comment that Harrison Talon put it on the wall to get that run out of 3 and 4 there and chose better going into 1. They're going to sort it out here. Oh, Dylan Hardcastle!
Caution. Dylan Javier is driving through the grass back up onto the racetrack. Hardcastle is stopped. He's getting it going there through Humpy's grass, but have to check the replay here to see exactly what happened. I would say that's pretty cut and dry. The 57 just came up off the corner, did not know the 22 was out there, and spun him right around. So going to be a big loss of position for both of those drivers. Hardcastle more than Javier, but either way, I don't think too much damage on either driver, and they should be able to get going here. We're lap 4 of 100 at this point. And right now, David Westergreen looking racy for that lead against Caleb Humer. David Westergreen there on the inside of the track out of turn number 2, trying to keep the nose lower off the corner, which is generally a good strategy here for success, but not going to happen this time by.
Gotta keep Gavin Higgins in my mind here. I know he started 5th. Maybe didn't get the start that he wanted, but right now, seeing Caleb Humer under fire from David Westergreen, Dominic Wright applying some pressure. I've noticed that he started to push, and now he's kind of just riding the bottom and saving his stuff. So if Caleb Humer's burning his stuff up, Gavin's trying to do the opposite. Obviously, 9 points separate those guys. They're kind of the 2 that we're watching here. Not to say that nothing could happen and somebody else could come and snipe this championship from both of them had something gone really wrong for them, but they're definitely the 2 that are fighting. You see David Westergreen side by side with Humer. Humer's going to get the run out of 3 and 4 and lead the lap, but he's not quite going to be clear as we get to turn 1.
Yeah, Westergreen not really in the championship fight. He is 32 points behind the leader coming into tonight, back in 13th place in the point standing. So he's more or less second to last as we come into tonight, but still a lot to prove for David here. I think he would probably agree that he's not had the season that he was expecting coming into this ARCA Championship for 2026A, and wants to come out here and get a good run, maybe get a win to cap off the season, and kind of build some momentum going into the other seasons of Elite, and maybe even another ARCA season. I don't know what David's plans are at the very moment, but obviously Blake Wise here in the pits. I believe iRacing, nope, that was actually from our race control. Due to the network connection quality, that 33, it never got better after the restart. Unfortunate for him. He was going to have to serve a one-eye pulled anyway, so just stopping the bleeding early here. Gavin Higgins looking racy for the lead. Not going to be able to do it this time by. Already seeing that outside line be pretty strong for defense tie, and that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, because you can defend up there on the outside, but you will burn your tires up a little bit more quickly than being there on the bottom.
Absolutely. And I think as this race goes on, these guys, especially on the bottom, they're going to get naturally tighter anyways. Their cars are going to start to fight them, so they might find themselves up on that high side. And it's also going to make the guys that try to pass on the bottom, it's going to make it a lot more difficult because there's just not going to be a whole lot there. You see David Westergreen with a huge charge back to the back bumper, the number 59 machine, side by side for the fourth spot between Jimmy Hayden and Dominic Wright. Harrison Talon still inside the top 5, off to a pretty good start for him tonight. Dominic Wright, though, starting to slip down the order. I don't know if this is him saving tire or if this is maybe he's not as good on the long run as he was on the short run with the qualifying speed, but we'll just have to see how that shuffles out.
Harris Italian last lap, he got a horrible run out of turn number 4, almost hit the wall and lost 2 spots right off the bat. Like he's maybe going to be under fire here from well, actually not a third one. He's looking to get around Dominic Wright, but you can kind of see with these lower powered stock cars. Oh, trouble. We got something happened. It's like the
Scotty Larson.
Yep.
Here's Hausler.
And from what we're seeing here in the replay, it looks like they got glued together and never got unstuck.
Driver 61 just doesn't. Okay, I'm just gonna drive through him. That's awesome.
Yeah, you'd have to think at some point that he's gonna realize that that car is there and not gonna try to just keep pushing on through.
No, not until he turned him out of his way, apparently.
Yeah, definitely. When we see that, it is out of some frustration, though. I've been in that position a little bit where you just kind of, you don't want to get your foot off the throttle because you're kind of pissed off about what just happened. But oh, the record of the caution, Scotty Larson. You can see him right at the top right of your screen. He has looped it he's looped it right there, and well, that's not gonna look good on the broadcast whatsoever. But no damage, thankfully.
Just wanted to do a little wraparound. Likewise, getting a show there.
Why don't we? I think I see where this race is going to go tonight. Why don't we take a quick break here and pay some bills?
This is Bobby Bolin from Tom Bolin Ford, and I have huge news for you. Right now, we are offering interest rates as low as 3.99 on most of our used cars. That's right, 3.99 happening right now. And it gets even better. These used vehicles come with the Bolin Lifetime Powertrain Warranty, giving you protection for the long haul. This is your chance to save big with incredible rates and shop our wide variety of trucks, vans, SUVs, and cars. Only at Tom Bolin Ford in Hannibal. Heck of a deal, ain't it?
Blue Egg Marketing. Rev up your business with Blue Egg, your marketing pit crew. Turbocharge your lead generation with experienced drivers that can navigate the competitive track to connecting with your customers. With Blue Egg, you're always in the pole position, leading your brand towards victory lane. So don't spin your wheels, accelerate success with Blue Egg, fueling small businesses to win big.
Tickets are on sale now for the 5th Detroit, Illinois 300 at Worldwide Technology Raceway. September 11th through 13th brings a full weekend of action with the NASCAR Cup Series, NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, and St. Louis's biggest music festival, Confluence. The stars shine on and off the track, and your ticket gets you everything: cars, concerts, camping, food, and fun. Don't miss it. Get your tickets now and save big at www.traceway.com.
The Lucas Oil School of Racing. Simply stated, we are the professional ranks where the quality of the equipment often dictates the outcomes, and all of our cars are designed to perform and race as close as humanly possible. None of our competitors will have an advantage from engineering tactics. Rather, you will compete on a completely level field with a score of immensely talented up-and-coming drivers, all pushing each other to reach their new heights in their respective pursuit in becoming a professional race car driver. Every year, our top-performing graduates move on to the professional racing ladders of IndyCar, F1, and IMSA. Whether drivers compete in 1 or 2 seasons of our series, when they are ready to move on, they are ready to move. The training you receive in our school is an unmatched, unforgettable, first-class education combining the very best racing instruction and education.
Welcome back here to the Charlotte Motor Speedway in Concord, North Carolina, working our first caution of the night. We made it 10% of the way through the race before we got there, so good run so far. Quick recap of the top 10. Caleb Kumer is your leader. He started there. He is there now. Dave Westergreen started second. He is there right now. Gavin Higgins up to 3rd, Jimmy Hayden 4th, Dominic Wright 5th, Harrison Talion 6th, James Watson in 7th, Bryce Fody 8th, Austin and Abnett 9th, and Caleb Pocock there in 10th. So racetrack should be pulling off here in just a few moments to get us back to green flag racing, and it's looking pretty good there. The wreck was well on back in the pack, so hopefully we can get her going green here again and get some green flag laps. As far as I know, I think we should be able to go about 40 and change laps on a fuel here in these ARCA cars. So it should be a 2-stop tonight, but we'll see. I could be completely wrong on that. The pace truck is in the pits and green flag out once again. Great restart for the 59 there on the bottom of the racetrack. Not so great for David Westergreen. He was caught sleeping just a little bit there, but he's going to slot into the 3rd position. No harm, no foul. Going to be under fire from the 24 of Jimmy Hayden for just a moment here, but a little bit further on back, there's Noah Brown, center of the screen, fighting with the 07 of Josh Osborne, the newly Toyota. The newly laden Toyota driver there in the 07, getting very close to Frank Fody in the 41 through turns 3 and 4. He's going to be 3 wide, bouncing off of Noah Brown. That's not a good place to be. He's got to be very, very careful here into turn number 1.
Oh!
That could have and should have been a caution right there. Probably somehow they got through it without any type of hubbub. But I think if Noah was positioned just a little bit differently there, Ty, he would have been murdered.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's kind of the tricky thing about Charlotte or any track that has a tri-oval like that, where you kind of have to cut it, go back out, and then cut it again. 3 wide normally doesn't work unless they're really in sync. You see Noah Brown with a huge run now towards the back bumper of Austin Abnett and Dave Carpenter, making the top side work. I would have to imagine he's one of those guys on tires. So Josh Osborne, 3 wide again. Frank Fody, Mark Rebelos. They're going to be 3 wide coming out of turn 2. Josh is going to think a little bit better this time and tuck in. Not going to have a huge run. That's going to open the door for Jacob Adams to have a look, who is also on tires.
Yeah, look for that 48 of Adams to fly through the field here after a few laps, because those tires are going to come into play. It's only been about 13 laps of green flag racing, but that does make a difference at Charlotte nowadays with the fact that the pavement is actually wearing out. That's good to see. And even some of these races, Jacob Adams, ooh, that's tight there. I think Mark did not exactly know that the 48 was going to be stuffing it there, but they make it through once again. And Jacob, typically one of those drivers that doesn't qualify well and somehow has a way to get himself through the field pretty efficiently here. So we'll see him making use of those tires. Probably with some aggression, some calculated aggression. Don't do anything stupid, but you know, you can stuff your nose in there, like hit 3 wide. That's actually going to be 4 wide, and that's going to be a wreck, and he's involved. Wow.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, my God. Oh, we're ARCA braking. Oh, no.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
Bryce Fody is probably hurt. I see Austin and Abnett, Frank Fody in there as well.
That was all of Lake Norman. Bryce Fody, Frank Fody, Austin and Abnett. Dylan Javier might have been involved in the ARCA braking. I hate to say it. That's a white car flying in there.
Starts here with the 65 of Noah Brown. I don't think he's the one that really caused it, though. It looks like the 80 of Bryce kind of came down the track. I don't know if he knew they were 3 wide or if he was just taking his normal line, but the 65 was absolutely there, and that unfortunately just collected a bunch of cars on the a little bit further on back in the pack. Check the replay here from this view. See Noah's 3 wide there, and Bryce just comes down. Yep. And fortunately, collecting all those Lake Norman cars, like you said, they done that a few times this season, Ty. They need to stop wrecking into each other and start working together a little bit better. But
yeah, I don't know if it was
the Jacob Adams with a double whammy there. He gets involved in the wreck and then gets involved again.
Yeah, I think the 61 might have just kind of floored it into that by the looks of it. I feel like we had an ample amount of time to slow down there. He was pretty late into that mess. I'm not going to lie to you. But you get that on those big jobs. Yeah, that's your 3 Lake Norman cars. Dylan Javier does get a piece of it. He doesn't really ARCA brake. He just kind of goes into the wall to get around his teammate. And then
swiped by him coming back up the track. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a expensive day for team owner Tyler Fode.
Well, all the front runners came down pit road. So we're seeing pit stops there. Looks like James Watson going to be first off pit road. I would have to guess that he is on 2 tires. Most certainly is. Yep, that's 2 tires for the 39 of Watson. So, and yeah, a bunch stayed out. A bunch being 2, looks like. That's Mark Urbiles and Mike Goodman there in the 44. They have stayed out. And I am not actually sure if they pitted before the caution. Definitely could have, but yeah, Goody actually pitted on lap 12, and I would have to think that Mark did as well. Looking at some of our carnage here on pit road, that 41 of Frank Fode is probably not going to be back on the track tonight. I had to make an educated guess there.
Hardcastle involved in that first accident looks okay. Dylan Javier had right front damage. It's mostly fixed now, just a couple scrapes. Shea Mitchell not looking great. Pierce Hausler has a front bumper again, which is great for him. Nigel Stock center punched on the nose there. Jacob Adams definitely killed. I don't think that thing's coming back to life. Steve Blake Wise there should be getting the wave around. Bryce Fode also a modified. Austin Abnett also a modified. So 2 Lake Norman cars left. One of them at full health. The other one pretty killed, and that would be Pierce Hausler. The one in good health would be Caleb Becumer. So Blake Wise actually seemingly, I don't know if he's on the lead lap or what's going on. Okay. I was going to say I'm a little confused as to I'm confused as to what's going on here because he's blinking, he's a lap down, but he's lining up third on this restart, which is going to cause a problem. I hate to be that guy, but it will. David Westergreen requesting an EOL.
Yeah.
Blake Wise now getting an EOL. So that will shuffle him to the rear of the field.
Well, we'll see if we get a restart here. Blake is going to the back. I think he should be able to make it there before we get going too far into this run. But there we go. Pace truck into the pits. Mark Urbiles on the inside line is your leader. He lines up next to Goody in the 44. So those two are your leaders for today. And oh, there we go. Good start for Urbiles there on the bottom. James Watson in 39, the bright-colored machine there, the bright-colored Ford. He's on 2 tires. He's the only one on 2 tires, I believe, and into turns 1 and 2. Should see those 2 tires come into play. There he goes around the outside of the 99 of Urbiles. That's going to be an elementary nighter for James Watson. Here comes Gavin Higgins looking to come through as well. He's on 4, so it should be even easier for him. Goody already there, back to the 10th or so position, and currently falling back a little bit more, almost in contact with the 66 of Cale Pocock. They are good to go for now, but right now everybody kind of just trying to struggle through this field and trying to figure out a way to go, Ty.
Yeah, and I think we're kind of going to see the James Watson machine take off here. The good thing with this new model that iRacing's done, the tire heat kind of plays a pretty big difference. There's also been maybe talks that the ARCA car doesn't have as much tire wear as it used to have. So you see James Watson right now pulling about a 0.3 of a second gap from those guys, especially Gavin Higgins, who is on 4, Caleb Becumer on 4 as well. Mark Rebelos, who is taking no tires, he's now falling back to 8th. Michael Goodman out of the top 10 now, but I think this is a really good call for James. This is somebody who's not really in the points fight. He's fighting for best of the rest, just wants to try to play the spoiler here and get a win, and I think that this is a great call for him, especially this early in the race. A lot of things can happen to get him back on strategy. You see Jaden Racimus all over the back bumper of Jamie Hayden as they work through turns 3 and 4. David Westergreen rides out 5th, Harrison Talon 4th, Caleb Becumer 3rd. He's actually making a big move on Gavin Higgins as we speak to the outside, and I think this is going to be a good power move for him here. If he gets right there on that right side, kind of pins him down to the bottom, doesn't let him get as much of a run out of the corner, Caleb should have a good run here, especially with the draft from James Watson and that little bit of an arrow push from Harrison Talon. He's clear.
Good move there for Caleb Becumer in the 59. Now he's going to set his sights on that 39 of Watson, who's kind of in that same group as we talked about David Westergreen earlier. Westergreen did make the chase. Watson did not, but they're kind of Westergreen's 13, Watson's 15. So I think both of them would agree they haven't had the best season. They haven't had the season they probably envisioned coming into the year, and probably just trying to come out here, get a win, get something to kind of take out of the season going into the next one, and see if they can improve on that a little bit here. But right as we saw Caleb Pekumer get around that outside of Higgins, Higgins got back around Caleb Pekumer. You can see we're on board with Pekumer right now. Now Harrison Talion on the inside there fighting with Pekumer. Pat Talion having a great run out here tonight so far in that number 8 machine, showing a lot of speed. Coming through turns 1 and 2. So hard to make that move if you're on the bottom. The outside line, absolutely the stronger line to defend that. Oh, Talion, that was a car there. You have a Westergreen there, and that was almost a disaster, but thankfully they kept it straight.
It's a rather bright automobile. I feel like we might have seen that one there already, but Harry just having a Harry moment. He's going to say somebody's hallucinating, I'm sure. That's classic Harry humor. Side by side with Jimmy Hayden now, who is looking to take advantage of that mistake. He's going to have a huge run down the back straightaway with some help from David Westergreen. Harry's going to have to tuck into 6th and kind of give that up. Caleb Pekumer still trying to work his way around Gavin Higgins. That run kind of died out, and Gavin was able to use the bottom to get back clear. Meanwhile, James Watson, that lead is still about 0.3 of a second. Nothing anybody else can do at the moment for the time being. Noah Brown side by side with Jaden Racimas.
Yep, Noah Brown and Racimas there. New players in the top 10. We saw Noah Brown. Unfortunate circumstances a couple of laps ago. He was involved in that big accident that took out Jacob Adams and pretty much all of Lake Norman. Not the cause of the accident as deemed by race control, so I was able to get through that. No damage on the car and looking pretty fast out here tonight. I would say has not had the chase he wanted. He actually came into the first race at Las Vegas. Some issues right off the bat that kind of soured everything after that, but trying to come out here, have a good run, trying to get maybe another top 5 on the season. He has a win, so it's always a good thing to say in the Elite Racing League, but trying to get some more out here for Brown, and he's made a good charge. Started back in 25th up to the 8th position, and definitely shown some speed in that 65. Thought better about the 3 wide move once again there. He was almost 3 wide with Racimas and Talion. Talion is struggling right now in that car. He cannot stay out of the outside wall up to turn 4. I don't know what has gone on, what has gone with the handling or whatever, but definitely having that issue each and every lap. Noah Brown now out of turn number 2, looking to try to finally do something with that number 1 of Racimas, but as we know, Ty, the Racimases, both Jaden and Jesse, very hard drivers to pass in any situation here in Elite. Oh, trouble for Watson. He is finally given up there and in the wall a little bit there. Those 2 left side tires have finally given up their grip just a little bit.
See, Gavin Higgins worked the inside. Yep.
Just tried to keep the gas in it, and it's what he had to do to try to keep the momentum up. And unfortunately, in the wall was it for the 39, and that's all she wrote for the lead for him.
And that's like the 4th guy that I've seen in this top 5 get the wall. There's another one at it. Jimmy Hayden to that list. Caleb Pekumer got a chunk of the wall the lap before Harrison Talion did. Obviously, James Watson just got it that time. Jimmy Hayden this last time around. I mean, a lot of these guys are starting to struggle with the handling of this race car, and I wonder, it's not the track changes. I don't think this track has changed at all to where it would worsen the condition that these guys are in, but I think these guys are just kind of starting to get to the point where they're wanting to get racy, but they're putting a little too much on the plate there.
Yeah, and another thing to kind of go back to what you said just a minute ago, the aero push updates that were done to this car and some of the other stock cars on the service. When you get into that aero push situation, you kind of go from turning in the center of the corner to all of a sudden just having really nothing on the front tires right on the very exit. So that's kind of where you see out of turn 2 and 4. We'll be on board here with Noah Brown to see exactly how this works, but see, he's turning through the corner, turning, and then, well, actually, I don't think we were showing that with Noah Brown, but basically, you'll be turning the corner, and then you just lose the grip on the very, very exit, which is where you see drivers get into the wall. So,
and
just a new thing with this update, and they're having to figure it out.
A lot of it too is if you have like that half a lane, like it looked like Noah had, when that car, like instead of having that a little bit of clean air, when they completely pull down in front of you and you're getting nothing but dirty air, If you have that little sliver, you're not fighting it as bad, but once they get completely in front of you, you're going to shoot towards that outside wall. You're going to have no turn. As you see Jimmy Hayden starting to rebound. That whole group, that is a cluster. Starting with David Westergreen, Jimmy Hayden, Harrison Talon. That might be an accident soon. Jimmy Hayden was running him pretty tight there, but nothing too bad of it yet. Noah Brown finally gets around James Watson. Sure, that's going to be a sigh of relief for him. That's one more car to the tally of guys that he's passed tonight. See Dominic Wright fighting on the outside with Harrison Talon. There's the arrow tight again for Noah Brown.
Ooh, wow, shout out Dave Carpenter. He made a huge move to the outside there, almost past 2 cars in the corner, but he's going to get to the outside of Noah Brown. Thanks to that, big arrow moment for Noah there. And we have a battle for the lead. It was just there for a second, but not so much. Gavin Higgins there on the outside. It's going to be so hard to pass if you're Caleb Kumer trying to make it down in turns 1 and 2 at least, because that's almost a one-line corner on old tires. It's not entirely a one-line corner, but the way it drives, it can kind of drive like a one-line corner. The mid-line kind of sliding up to the middle, kind of weird line that you got to run there is goofy, but that's about where Gavin is right now, kind of easing down to the bottom on exit, sliding it back up off of turn 2 to the wall, and doing a good job of holding that 59 off for now.
See the huge run that Caleb gets to the back bumper of the 20. They kind of alternated lines here. Caleb went bottom last time around. Gavin's going to go bottom this time around. Caleb's going to ride the wall both corners. He's going to be a little bit closer. I would expect Gavin to probably take that lane back here. Seeing that Caleb, he's going to take it right back from him. Seeing that Caleb was able to get those huge runs down the back straightaway just to kind of protect it, because I'm sure Gavin's looking in his mirror and he's seeing what the dirty air effect is doing to these guys and making it 10 times more difficult. So if he's able to stay in front of Caleb Kumer right now and kind of manage that lead, he doesn't have to worry about that. He can kind of use all of that to his advantage. You see David Westergreen going to put that dirty air on the nose of Jimmy Hayden. You see how tight Jimmy Hayden's going to be. He's almost going to catch the outside wall. I think that's kind of the story of what we're seeing right now, is these guys are maybe not mirror driving, but they're certainly looking at it, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's a whole new style of racing almost for stock cars. You know, more akin to what you see in Indy cars, where they literally have to drive around the aero wash of those cars because they generate so much downforce with the giant wings. It just you cannot drive behind an Indy car at an over. You just can't. It's not going to work like that. So these stock cars nowadays, even these Gen 6 composite body, these are pre-built bodies made by 5-Star. They aren't aero tweaked like the Gen 6 cars of yesteryear. They're not morphed, they're not laser scan tricked, anything like that. They're just pre-built bodies made by 5-Star, and you know they are not as bad as the Gen 6 bodies used to be. But they definitely do still, with that big spoiler and lots of aerodynamics kind of built into it. It still generates a lot of aero wash behind the car, so you have to take into account that when you're driving these, and find a way to drive around it here. Which, as we go into the corner, you can kind of see what happens. All 3 of these drivers taking 3 different lines to try to get themselves some clean air on the nose to help with the turning.
Pocock in the 12th position. That's one big pack. Everybody else is kind of falling off. So, I don't know what we've gotten used to seeing with this ARC car, especially at a place like Las Vegas. It was very packy, just like this. I see Caleb Kumer going a little higher than Gavin Higgins now, so maybe a little bit of a game plan change there. 43 laps into this thing, still halfway to go. We do probably have a green flag pit stop pretty shortly, I would imagine. I think we pitted on, what was it, like lap 13? Most of these guys came down somewhere through there. They might have came at 20 as well, so maybe we're 10, 15 laps away or so, I would have to imagine. Yep.
Lap 19 here, it's showing for all of these drivers. But definitely, it's like they are, the tires are definitely starting to come off a little bit. You can see when the tires are fresh, you can kind of drive it in there, kind of, you know, side by side, drive it on the bottom, kind of hold the inside a little bit better than now. You can see Westergreen there off of turn number 4, just cannot hold the nose down there, slides up a little bit, gives the run to Caleb Kumer, and he's going to have to slide up behind Caleb Kumer, but he can't because Jimmy Hayden is there.
He tried it. I mean, it was... Oh, they're going to...
He's still trying it.
Yeah, I don't know if that was just David, you know... when he tried to tuck up, it was very close. Like, he kind of almost turned himself on Jimmy, but he didn't. He saw it and changed the direction there. But right now, they're just letting Caleb pull away, and they're going to make more contact. Here comes Shane Racemius making it 3, not quite. Harrison Talon 3 wide on the pass in the grass.
And we have somehow survived it for now.
There's no way. It's okay. He thought he was Dale Earnhardt there for a second. That would have been kind of sick, I won't lie.
Hey, if any driver in Elite, it's Dale Earnhardt. We'll give it to Harry. Shea Mitchell there on the outside getting lapped. He is running in the, excuse me, that is not Shea. That is Shea Mitchell. He's running in the 21st position. Going to let all these drivers go on the inside line. Battle for second. Jimmy Hayden now fighting with Caleb Kumer there. And Jimmy Hayden, I mean, Ty, this is kind of how he's done most of his races this season. He kind of languishes around, and then when the stakes get higher and it actually matters, he definitely comes out to play. So I think he's pretty good at saving his tires. I think that's probably what he was doing here to whatever extent you can do in these ARCA cars. And now looking at lap times, 30.5 last time for Jimmy Hayden, and 30.7 last time for Gavin Higgins. 2/10 quicker. We might see a battle for the lead here in a few laps.
And I talked about it. I wasn't saying that the championship was basically just between Gavin Higgins and Caleb Kumer. Jimmy Hayden was third in points, only 11 points back. And if he's able to keep this up till the end of this race, this is going to be a huge swing. We still have 1 week to go. We could have, you know, the race heading into the finale next week and have a three-way fight, like something straight out of Cars. It's kind of insane. Both of these guys, Caleb Kumer, Gavin Higgins, the seasons they've had. Jimmy Hayden started off really good. We missed him a couple races right before the chase started, and then I would say that he's not had the greatest luck, maybe not had the runs he's deserved, but he's having a phenomenal drive tonight to put himself back in championship contention come next week.
Oh yeah, the cream's rising to the top, obviously here. We got 3 multi-time winners this season: Caleb Kumer, Gavin Higgins, and the third one is, of course, Jimmy Hayden. Jimmy Hayden with 2 wins compared to the others 3, but either way, he's been very consistent and doing exactly what he needs to do. He is the quicker car right now, no doubt about that. You can see at the bottom of your screen, green is good, and he was a 10th, 2/10, a 10th, and then a half a 10th there quicker than Gavin Higgins in the last 4 laps. So whatever he's doing in that 24 machine is working. But unfortunately, you know, one of the old adages of racing, catching is one thing, passing is another. So Jimmy Hayden, he's rightfully there. He is right there behind the 20 of Gavin Higgins, but as we've kind of been saying, he's got to figure out that aero wash, that aero push that is going to be in Gavin's favor. Find out a way to either go high or go low or go middle or go somewhere where that 20 is not, because that's the only way he's going to be able to get around them. You can't pass the car when they are there. iRacing cars are solid. I've known this for many years. I can confirm. I've hit him a lot. But yeah, he's going to have to find a way here. Smacking the wall just a little bit out of turn number 4. You can kind of see how it's already starting to affect that 24. Jimmy caught him quick, but now that he's at the back bumper, it's kind of, he stalled out a little bit.
And I mean, I think if anybody, based on what we've just seen, past David Westergreen, he went past Caleb Kumer. I'm sure he's passed a lot more cars in the earlier part of this race before he was in the top 5. But having that advantage of knowing what he could do to pass those guys is one thing. When you've got to pass the leader, though, there's not really anybody else in front of the leader to maybe get them aero tight. So there's no advantage to take over somebody. It's a lot of just, he's going to have to set him up, and they're both running the bottom. So if I'm Jimmy Hayden, I think one of these laps, I'm going to take the top side, and I'm going to see what I can do. Ultimately, if he loses time, I think he's quick enough to get right back to where he is right now within a couple laps. So we're also, I mean, we're looking at green flag pit stops. That was 7 laps ago, or about 10 laps ago, and we brought that up. They were 20 laps away, or through that run. 40 is what we're looking at fuel-wise, so I would expect green flag pit stops, like, kind of pretty soon. I would have to imagine, probably within the next 5 to 6 for a lot of these guys. Lap traffic, not a factor just yet, but Jimmy Hayden has to do something different.
He sure does, and maybe we'll look at lap 60 to see if that window will open. That'll be 40 laps to go. It should be an easy fuel tank, or easy 1 tank with these ARCA cars, but getting there pretty quickly.
Got a huge cluster. James Watson maybe looking 3, not quite. David Westergreen struggling. Cale Pocock, how about him? He was running 11th in the back of that pack and has now moved up to 4th. David Westergreen falling off. Huge contact with Jaden Racimus.
And it is, yeah, all of these drivers cannot get away from each other. Cale Pocock was at the back of this train. Now he's at the front of it. So I'm sure he's not too worried about it, but kind of the rest of them shuffling between themselves, as they kind of have been for the majority of the race, just about.
Do have Josh Osborne pitting on lap 54, so that might start that chain reaction to these guys. Jimmy Hayden, however, ran the top side a couple corners. He's now all over the back bumper. Gavin Higgins, he's going to have to try something. He moved to the top. It got him a huge run. This is the closest he's been all night. This time he's going to be underneath him. Gavin's not able to take that lane away now. His tires are pretty burnt. He's not able to get that bottom and close it, so that's that half a lane of air that Jimmy Hayden needed that I was talking about. Nothing of it down the front straightaway, but now Gavin is running the middle to the top side, so huge change here. David Westergreen, Dave Carpenter, they're side by side. David is completely fallen off. I would expect him to pit really soon, the way those tires are looking.
Yeah, he would want to pit at the first part, at kind of right when we get to lap 60. See a couple here on pit road. There's Malone, Rabiles, Noah Brown is on pit road, because that would give him an undercut, which would give him fresher tires at the beginning of the run to kind of make those positions up, and then he'll have to figure out a way to get the time back later on in the run. But it's kind of that's kind of like I would say an undercut situation is kind of like Make It Friday's problem, kind of at work. You just kind of move your less grip part of the run to another part of, or later on, and then you can kind of deal with it there. But Jimmy Hayden having a lot of trouble getting around the number 20 of Higgins, and that's a bit of arrow wash there. There he goes, looking low into turns 1 and 2. Gonna be hard to do that. We got some lap traffic up here ahead. That's gonna make it even harder.
Yeah,
hanging tough.
I mean, there's no run off the corner for him, though, which kind of sucks. That's the closest he's been all night. He was side by side. Gavin's going to get tight on entry here. He's going to wash up. He's going to have a run off the top. If Jimmy's able to keep this momentum off the corner, might be able to still be side by side. Gavin did not get as big a run as I was expecting him to. He's going to have a chance here.
Yeah, if he can just keep that car kind of right there side by side with the 20, it is kind of a fair game for him to drive it in there, try to make a slide job, or Gavin Higgins, that's just a car moving around a little bit, no problem. I thought they were going to have contact, but weird perspective. And maybe we'll see one of these drivers try to do some strategy here. Maybe Jimmy Hayden would benefit by pitting a little bit early before Gavin here to try to jump him on the pit stop. There's David Westergreen coming down pit road. He's going to be the first of this lap. Scotty Larson, we saw him in a wreck earlier. He's now getting a lap.
Questionable. Asked the leader where he wanted him. The leader said hi. He asked a little late. But I would have to imagine Jimmy Hayden has to be thinking that he needs to pit first right now, right? If he's struggling to get around Gavin Higgins on better tires and being quicker, get that jump. Don't let it be a problem for later. If you're quicker than him on the long run, pit early, save your stuff a little bit more, and extend that gap out later. I think that's got to be the move. Cale Kakumar, I believe, is pitting this time. He's falling down into this spot. Cale Pocock is reeling the leaders in. That was a 3-second gap about 4 or 5 laps ago. It's now down to 2.5. So Cale Pocock doing a great job right now. We talked about how he was at the end of that train and then moved up to the front of it. He was driven by Cale Kakumar. He's now looking really good. Jimmy Hayden still all over the back bumper. Gavin Higgins with nowhere to go.
And just to kind of explain how this works with pit strategy wise, so when you're Jimmy Hayden, say you were to pit now, he's running about 30.8, 30.9 lap times, kind of equaling Gavin Higgins there. So if he were to pit, get fresh tires on the car, get the car fueled up, not have to worry about that for the end of the race, he could drive himself, and this is kind of where you just have to pace yourself a little bit, drive to about 30.7 lap times or thereabouts. Just because obviously with the fresh tires, you're going to be running, low 30s or so for a few laps as the tires, then they will start to degrade and you'll get slower. But if you can just kind of run very slow laps, running 30.7, which is a little bit quicker than what they're running now, he could theoretically jump the distance, get in front of the 20 before they pit, even if they pit at the same time or so, or if they, Gavin pits a lap later. If Jimmy can run that lap time consistently and kind of just run a little bit quicker now, he could definitely try something here. But right now he's just seems content with just riding in the train tracks of that number 20 of Gavin Higgins for now. They're going to lap the 7 of Dylan Javier, the damaged machine from one of our earlier accidents.
My call earlier was incorrect. Caleb Bekemer pitting this time, as is Harrison Talon from 9th. So, a couple guys pitting. We have it in as well. Caleb Bekemer looking a little hot.
No black flag on the 59 yet, so he should be all good.
Looked like he was on the brakes trying to get that thing down. It did not look good from this perspective. But he is clean for now, unless he gets something on exit. I would have to imagine that he should be fine. The 2 leaders, though, staying out, and the longer that they stay out, the more I'm wondering why we haven't pitted yet, if we're Jimmy Hayden. What do we have to lose here, right? I feel like you have to finish ahead of these guys to realistically have a chance to fight for the championship next week, to have it be a little bit more manageable for him. So I feel like he's got to pull the trigger soon.
Yeah, and with everyone else pitting right now, that if we go green here, all those people pitting now are going to, they have a chance to gap these two once we get to that end of the run here, and then they're going to have to fight amongst themselves and then fight through that traffic as well. So everyone who's kind of pitted up to this point, say like Noah Brown, Harrison Talion, Caleb Bekemer, those drivers that were up towards the front, they're probably going to cycle through in front of these drivers, or probably just in front. So that's going to make their end of the race just a little bit more difficult, because they're going to have to fight, like we said, amongst themselves and then amongst that other traffic.
Also pitted. And looking at it now, there's 4 cars, about to be 5 on the lead lap. These guys have stayed out that long. James Watson is on pit road. These guys are going to lap him this time by. Take a look at everything else. Cale Pocock, I mentioned, he pitted. He was the quickest car on that long run, was running these leaders down. I'd have to imagine Jimmy Hayden kind of getting held up by Gavin Higgins, obviously, with the dirty air, but we'll have to see how that goes. I'd have to imagine that Cale Pocock might be in the catbird seat right now, given that these guys have stayed out this long. 30 to go, and once we get our leaders pit stop here, we will get one more commercial break for you. We'll be good to the end. But we're kind of awaiting that from them right now, so that way we don't leave you guys on a cliffhanger. And then, oh, here comes Jimmy Hayden. He's pitting this time. Oh.
And Gavin Higgins decides to come in too. Oh, was he quick? I think he is sideways. We'll have to see what comes of Gavin's entry there, but I think he's good.
That was, so Jimmy Hayden, that was really smart. He called that in turn 3, gave Gavin Higgins basically 5 seconds to get that thing slowed down and cover this off. And Gavin did a great job. That is not easy to do. When somebody makes that pit call and you have to get in and you have to cover it off, that is a high-pressure situation, and Gavin Higgins just did it like a champ.
Oh, that was great driving there, and he was all sorts of sideways, almost half-wrecking coming into the pits, but got it woed up, got it slowed down. He's going to come out of the pits in front of the 24. Great strategy, Connie. Great call for Jimmy Hayden to pit there. Great call for Gavin Higgins to hold that off and pit right with the 24, because see right off pit road, he's actually going to extend his lead by a little bit over the 24. And we can get a camera on the 24, not really pertinent now, but Jimmy Hayden, now he's having a fight with Caleb Bekemer and the 66 of Cale Pocock. So Gavin Higgins, he's out there in the front kind of just chilling right now. He can run his pace, but Jimmy Hayden, unfortunately, now he's going to have to deal with these others as well. So that's kind of what we're talking about. That's kind of what we were talking about, how the strategy kind of following through will help certain others in the grand scheme of things there. But ERN's very own Dave Huckleberry is out in the lead right now. He has stayed out to this point and currently leading the race by 11 seconds over Noah Brown. That lead for Brown is, we'll call him relative to the rest of the field there. Gavin Higgins, Caleb Bekemer, he's got about a 5-second lead on those drivers right now. So they're obviously, Noah Brown, I think he pitted, 5 to 10 laps before Higgins and Bekemer. They're obviously going to run him down, but what Noah's kind of hoping for is maybe those tires hold on a little bit more than he thought, or a caution here with about 15 laps to go that he can kind of use to get himself jumped up through the field here. But there's Dave Huckberry on the pit road now, and he's going to be the last of our drivers who have not yet made their final pit stop. It's going to give the lead to Noah Brown there in the 65. As our timing and scoring updates, we'll make note of the gap from him back to the other cars, namely Higgins and company there. Jimmy Hayden is actually, he's actually kind of struggling there in that little pack of cars. He's fallen to the end of it. That pack being Higgins back to Cale Pocock now.
Yeah, we talked about the struggle that he would have in this dirty air, and waited. In my opinion, I think Jimmy was fine. I think what he wasn't waiting on or wasn't wanting was Gavin Higgins to pit with him. I think it'd be a completely different situation if he was just working through these cars, but unfortunately, he's got to work through these cars and then go past Gavin Higgins, who's now clear of all of this. See Dave Carpenter getting tight. That's going to allow Jimmy to go under him and have a huge run there, but the only thing I can see is Noah Brown maybe trying to put up a fight with Gavin Higgins and that buying Jimmy Hayden from the time he gets there. But before we get the rest of that, I believe we need to take one more quick break, and we'll be right back with you here from the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Tickets are on sale now for the 5th Detroit, Illinois 300 at Worldwide Technology Raceway. September 11th through 13th brings a full weekend of action with the NASCAR Cup Series, NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, and St. Louis's biggest music festival, Confluence. The stars shine on and off the track, and your ticket gets you everything: cars, concerts, camping, food, and fun. Don't miss it. Get your tickets now and save big at WWTRaceway.com.
The Lucas Oil School of Racing. Simply stated, we are the professional ranks where the quality of the equipment often dictates the outcomes, and all of our cars are designed to perform and race as close as humanly possible. None of our competitors will have an advantage from engineering tactics. Rather, you will compete on a completely level field with a score of immensely talented up-and-coming drivers, all pushing each other to reach their new heights in their respective pursuit in becoming a professional race car driver. Every year, our top-performing graduates move on to the professional racing ladders of IndyCar, F1, and IMSA. Whether drivers compete in 1 or 2 seasons of our series, when they are ready to move on, they are ready to move. The training you receive in our school is an unmatched, unforgettable, first-class education combining the very best racing instruction and education.
Blue Egg Marketing. Rev up your business with Blue Egg, your marketing pit crew. Turbocharge your lead generation with experienced drivers that can navigate the competitive track to connecting with your customers. With Blue Egg, you're always in the pole position, leading your brand towards victory lane. So don't spin your wheels, accelerate success with Blue Egg, fueling small businesses to win big.
Right now at Tom Bowlen Ford, we're offering X-Plan pricing for everyone. Yes, you heard me right, everyone. That means every customer can take advantage of special pricing normally reserved for employees of Ford partner companies. And all you have to do is walk through the door at Tom Bowlen Ford. And it gets even better. Also receive a Bowlen lifetime powertrain warranty, giving you long-term confidence for the miles ahead. Unbeatable pricing, lifetime protection, and a huge selection waiting for you right now. Only at Tom Bowlen Ford in Hannibal. Heck of a deal, ain't it?
Back here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway for the Charlotte 150. While we were under commercial break, Gavin Higgins has caught Noah Brown. Jimmy Hayden has worked through all of that lap traffic, and we have a race on our hands. Jimmy Hayden has brought that gap from over a second down to about half. Obviously, he still has to get to Noah Brown and pass him, but we have a race on our hands, and I would have to imagine that Gavin Higgins, probably aware that Jimmy Hayden was a lot faster on that last long run, and despite Jimmy having to work around that lap traffic, he's done it very quickly. He's done it pretty cleanly, has been able to keep his nose clean, and I would have to imagine he's probably going to blow Noah Brown's doors off with that tire difference. Not able to do so just yet, but Gavin Higgins has lost about 1/10 of a second, even with Jimmy being in that dirty air from Noah Brown. So the race is on, folks.
Yeah, and I think Jimmy Hayden probably was hoping and expecting that 65 of Brown was going to fight Gavin just a little bit more, but I think the tire difference just a little bit too much here. You can see it's over 10 laps, about what, 14 laps between them. So that's a massive tire difference. Jimmy Hayden's going to easily clear Noah Brown here off of turn number 2. Gavin hit in the wall a little bit, and Jimmy Hayden is swerving, blocking, trying to keep that 65 behind him. That is Something you see in IndyCar racing, not so much stock car racing at this type of track, but keeps the position nonetheless. And 0.6 of a second is the gap here. Ty, 16 laps to go. 17 laps to go. I can't read.
Big word for Elmo. The ability to read, but Jimmy Hayden ticking that gap ever so slowly, just chipping away. And it's down to half a second right now, under half a second. Gavin Higgins, I'm starting to wonder if he might be saving a little bit. Maybe knowing Jimmy Hayden ran him down pretty quickly there, about halfway through that run. And then, I mean, he couldn't do anything with it, but I think he might be aware that if he were to burn his tires up too much and give Jimmy Hayden that opportunity, it wouldn't be as hard as it could be, or it was last time, because Jimmy now knows that he has to make this pass. It's not a, I can maybe get around him before pit stops. It's, he has to if he wants to win this race. Corey Abbott, he's third right now, on the back bumper of Jimmy Hayden, so maybe a little bit of a arrow push there. Just see Noah Brown getting passed by Caleb Pacumer now. Pacumer looking to rebound after his little bit of an excursion with the outside wall halfway through, but he's rebounded pretty good. Still looking to keep that points lead if he can, but Gavin Higgins and Jimmy Hayden have something to say about it.
Yeah, Higgins has just been, I mean, in particular, Higgins has been so strong this race. Once he got out to the lead, it's been hard for anyone to really challenge him. Even, I'd say Jimmy Hayden was the strongest challenger, but couldn't really get, he could only get to his side, have side-by-side racing a couple times, was not able to really do anything with the 20 to get him out of the way there. So 0.5 of a second now, the gap between those two. Looking a little bit further on back, Pocock and Pacumer going at it, the two P drivers. Pocock there on the inside. He's going to drive it in there, try to slide up in front of the 59, but that's not going to work because Caleb Pacumer's going to be right back to the outside of him, out of turn number 2. And Pacumer, he's out here driving in fourth. Pretty good run. Still probably driving on the vibes of that World 600 win here last week. Just a cool moment all around. Popular win, it seemed like, for a lot of drivers in the league. They like to see that happen to him. So very cool to see that, and obviously out here fighting for his first ever championship in the ARCA series. And shout out to this guy. Why don't we give old Dave Karp a shout out? He's been in the top 10 just about all race. Started 12th, got up to the top 10, has not really fallen out of the top 10 once he got there, and is showing a pretty decent amount of speed here in that number 71 Cheaties machine. Good run for old Karp here. And Harrison Talion, he's in the 9th position. We saw him up in the top 5 a little bit while ago, and was not able to hold it, but still a good run for old Harry there in the 8 car. Back behind him, Dominic Wright, last driver in the top 10. He started 3rd, and he fell back pretty early, but it's been able to stabilize that fall off just a little bit, and now he's running right there in the top 10 behind Harry in the 8 machine. Back up here at the front, though. Yeah, we have a race brewing, Ty.
Yeah, Jimmy. So there was a little bit of a line difference here that I'm seeing. Jimmy Hayden is painting the blue line. He's getting those left sides all over it. Gavin Higgins wasn't doing that at first, but when he looked in the rearview mirror and saw what Jimmy Hayden was doing and how it was working, he's been trying to put that dirty air on him, but Gavin's struggling with keeping it down there. You see Jimmy got all the way to the blue paint. There's that crossover when Gavin Higgins got about halfway lined up with that 24 machine. It got Jimmy a little bit tight, not too bad. We're still under 0.3 of a second. This is where I would have to start changing the line if I'm Jimmy Hayden. You know that he's going to take that away from you. That's where he knows you're quicker. Gavin's going to get loose. So even with Jimmy getting tight, that's not too much of a time gain. You see the ticker on the bottom of your screen. Jimmy Hayden just under a tenth quicker the last 3 laps. He's been eating this gap alive. Lap traffic in front of these guys. Looks like it's Scotty Larson and Josh Osborne. Gavin's fighting. He's wiggling that thing off the corner, trying to keep it to the bottom. I don't know if he's getting loose or tight, but a whole lot of movement out of that 20 goal.
Yeah, let's see. Let's get, if we can, let's get it on board with the 24 of Hayden. Let's see if he's making any adjustments behind that 20, because he's running right up behind him, and is on board with Jimmy Hayden here, and we'll see if he's making any adjustments there. He's in turns 1 and 2. It's a pretty similar line here, but you see he's about a lane and a half lane up there of Gavin Higgins. Cuts down into the. Kind of caught him by surprise running that line. That was a hard word for me to say out of turn 4. He's going to have a run going into turn 1. Gavin Higgins taps the wall just a little bit, and some lap traffic in front of the 20. So Ty, just like you said earlier, that nullifies his clean air advantage a little bit here, and that's going to make it easier for Jimmy to maybe do something here. Maybe use one of the lap cars as a pick too.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a huge run for him right here because he took the top on entry. Gavin's going to have to lift a little because of where the 2 car is, so it's not going to work out that well for Jimmy Hayden, unfortunately. But Jimmy has kind of figured it out now that he's a little bit better if he gets that top side momentum. He's running right in Gavin's wake, though. I don't know. Obviously, I'm not in car number 24, right? But if I were in Jimmy Hayden's shoes, I think at this point, you know you're quicker. You've ran him down over this stint. This is exactly what I would be doing. I think you have to try a different lane. You've got to try something different because doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different outcome, that's just insanity. You know, I think this is what he has to do. He's got to get a huge run into 1 here. He's got to pick a lane, and he's going to have to stick it. And he's going to let Gavin take the bottom. Gavin's going to park it up there. That's kind of what I was talking about earlier. They're not necessarily mirror driving, but they're definitely looking to see where that guy's putting themselves so that way they can cover that off and take that air away.
Yeah, and you saw that hurt Jimmy Hayden just a little bit. I think Jimmy Hayden was kind of expecting Gavin to not take that line he did, and Jimmy just kind of got caught in the dirty air for the entirety of the corner, could not really drive through it as well as he wanted to. So it's about 2.5 tenths the gap right now, but 5 laps to go here at Charlotte. Jimmy Hayden, he obviously has the speed to fight with the 20 of Gavin Higgins, but can he find his way around? Gavin Higgins, I mean, he has shown incredible racecraft here tonight to put his car exactly where it needs to be to keep that 24 from really advancing on the due to the aero wake of that machine. So doing a great job out here tonight, showing a lot of spatial awareness with just the way the car drives for Gavin Higgins, and now there's 4 to go.
And something I'm noticing with his line, and it's something that I think Jimmy's seeing too, you see him cutting straight to the bottom. Gavin's kind of taking that high arc and then cutting later into the corner, and I think he's doing that because he's trying to gauge where Jimmy's going to go. If Jimmy's going to go high, he's going to keep it high. If Jimmy's going to go low, he's going to take it low. So if he puts it right in the middle, it kind of gives him more of an opportunity to cover that off. I don't think he liked what he saw with Jimmy Hayden getting that run there, so he might not have tried to do anything there. Sees that it's not going to be a huge momentum stretch there for Jimmy Hayden as we get towards 1. Definitely a little closer, but nothing world-ending for him yet. 3 to go this time by. This is tricky because if you're Jimmy Hayden's shoes, you don't know what's going to work, right? Like, you've been there before, but you kind of just got some lucky breaks. And now Gavin with that high arc is going to give Jimmy the chance, but here's that dirty air, and that's going to kill Jimmy off the corners. So it's a toss-up at this point. I don't know what Jimmy Hayden could really do differently than what he's trying right now.
Yeah, it's not for lack of trying whatsoever. 2 laps to go here at Charlotte. You're not missing much through the field. The only movement that we've had is Noah Brown continues to lose spots. He's fighting with David Westergreen for the 6th position. David Westergreen currently has it. They're kind of going at it here a little bit through turns 1 and 2. But the fight here up at the front, it's been this way for, we'll call that about half the race, if not more. Gavin Higgins and Jimmy Hayden. It's been all these two. 1 lap to go out of turn number 4. I don't think Jimmy Hayden has enough to do something. It's going to have to be a Hail Mary and then some if he's going to get the win here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. But I just don't think that he has been able to figure out that aero push or that aero wake coming off the 20 car. And Gavin Higgins, what an impeccable job of keeping that car positioned precisely where he needs it to be to keep that 24 behind him. But through 3 and 4, it's going to be win number 4 on the season, I believe, for Gavin Higgins. And he wins here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. What a drive for the driver of the 20. Come out here and get the win, cement his championship challenge going into Homestead, and looking very good is the driver of the 20.
Look at the replay cam here. Battle for 6. Noah Brown, David Westergreen, door bang into the line. That is too close to call. I don't have it for you. Looks like at the line, 8 thousandths of a second, David Westergreen gets P6. But to look at the top 5 finishers, Caleb Akumer 5th, that makes that championship race next weekend so much more exciting because Caleb Akumer had 6 points over Gavin Higgins. He finishes 5th. Jimmy Hayden was a little bit behind Gavin. He finishes 2nd, sorry. So that makes that championship gap where either of those top 3 can have a chance at this thing next week.
Oh, absolutely. Definitely tune in next week on Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. here on Elite Racing Network. It's going to be a barn burner, and we are ending it at the best place to end a championship fight or a best place to end a season in NASCAR I think we've ever had. The Homestead Miami Speedway. What a great track. Good vibes, good racing. It's in Florida. It's warm. So what more can you ask for there? Gavin Higgins, he's going to do his victory burnouts. His second win of the series on a track over a mile in length. He's got, he won at Nashville. He won at North Wilkesboro. Nashville Super Speedway, that is. And then he won at Phoenix, and now he's won here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. So yeah, I'm excited to see the points going after tonight. I think it's gonna be one hell of a battle next week, and I think we're gonna see a really close fight here coming out of this race. But we'll go ahead and get a couple more bills paid here. We've already got them paid up to where we need to, but we'll let these drivers get kind of settled out and get some interviews for you here in just a moment.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
This is Bobby Bolin from Tom Bolin Ford, and I have huge news for you. Right now, we are offering interest rates as low as 3.99 on most of our used cars. That's right, 3.99 happening right now. And it gets even better. These used vehicles come with the Bolin Lifetime Powertrain Warranty, giving you protection for the long haul. This is your chance to save big with incredible rates and shop our wide variety of trucks, vans, SUVs, and cars. Only at Tom Bolin Ford in Hannibal. Heck of a deal, ain't it?
Back here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, just concluded tonight's event after 100 laps. Gavin Higgins came home as your winner, his fourth on the season. But before we talk to him, we're going to go ahead and talk to our second and third place finishers. And with that, I have Mr. Abbott here. In where is he?
So you don't have him, you lied.
I certainly did lie. Yep, I have him now. Corey, this is Cam in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
All right, well, man, a low-key race for you tonight. I mean, you started way back in the pack back in 21st, and it seems like you spent a lot of time trying to get through the pack there, but you made it through and made some good use out of that long green flag run. Got yourself up into the fight there, but tell us about your night from your perspective.
Yeah, it didn't start the way I wanted it. I was like coming right out of 4 when qualifying ended, so I timed it about 10 seconds too late. So that was unfortunate. But I had a lot of confidence coming in tonight, just with what I had figured out during the World 600 last Wednesday. So I just stuck to that plan, and that worked pretty well. On the long run, that worked well. I think if I didn't start quite so far back, I would have had more for Jimmy and Gavin, but because I pit when I did and I had the older tires, Dirty Air just killed me, and I had nothing for them at the end. Once they pulled away with the draft, they were checked out.
Yeah, I want to expand on that topic you just brought up, Dirty Air. We talked about it all night tonight, really, that it seemed to have a big effect on the racing, and with this new update and everything. Was that kind of what you were experiencing out there? Was there anything besides just literally being out of the Dirty Air that you could do, like maybe cut the corners a little bit differently, or something like that? What were you doing to alleviate that?
Honestly, I spent so much time in the back. I had a lot of clean air. So once Jimmy passed me there on after the pit stops, that was the first time I really had to figure out what I was doing. Really, I mean, I experimented with kind of Pecumer did it on Wednesday. He would like enter high and cut back down. I tried that, it's so tight, and there's just I don't know if it's too much grip or not enough grip with the track temp, but it didn't really work. You kind of just had to run the bottom, I think. Um, really just get as low as you can, try to stagger from the car in front of you. Once Jimmy got far enough ahead of me, like, I don't know, half a second, 7/10, it wasn't too bad. But just trying to stay close to him that was really hard.
Right on, man. Well, it's been a season so far. Been a great season, I think. It's been really fun to watch from our perspective. One more race. You came into tonight's race 16 points behind the leader. You end the race 16 points behind the leader. It's a tie for first now between Higgins and Becumer. So you definitely have an outside shot at the title. I would say would need some help in the form of luck or something to that effect. But what's your strategy going into next week's race at Homestead to end the season out? Do you like that track, and how you feeling about it?
I love Homestead. In the old ARCA car, back when the infamous William White ran and decimated us, he and I had like, I don't know, 10, 11 seconds over the rest of the field. So if by some chance that's even possible with this package, I'm gonna hope I can do it. Um, really, I'm just excited to go to Homestead. It's just a fun track. It's a track that I just click with. Um, really bummed that we're still 16 points out. Um, yeah, just frustrated with Wilkesboro still. That just it completely unraveled everything. But that's racing. You just got to deal with it, move on. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we were kind of expecting that from some of these drivers with a 5 race chase. Just not a lot of time for bad luck to be kind of gotten back from. So just one of those things about the format there. But either way, before we let you go, any sponsors or shout outs?
I got to thank all the guys at Abbott Motorsports. Let's see if I can name them all off the top of my head. Jaden Racimus, Andrew Hardcastle, Caleb Pocock, Jimmy ran with us tonight. He's a good friend, been a friend for a while. Shout out him, good finish. He's fast. Shout out Gavin, been really strong this season. It's really cool to see since he's been in ARCA, the amount of time he has to see him figure things out. Shout out you guys. You always put on a good broadcast. Always enjoy watching it back. Shout out Dave Huck for ARCA. Without him, we would have no ARCA. Yeah.
All right. Well, yep, definitely good on the shout out there for Dave. We would not have ARCA without Dave, so always good to shout him out. But we appreciate you talking to us, Corey. Good round out there tonight, and it's been a good season up to this point. Hopefully, you can end it strong next weekend. But yeah, we'll see where everything plays out after that one.
Yeah, fingers are crossed. Thanks, guys.
All right, that was Gavin Higgins. That was not Gavin Higgins.
What?
Gavin Higgins was your winner. That was Corey Abbott. We're a little confused right now, but I believe you got Jimmy Hayden, who's actually Jimmy Hayden.
I do. I can't confirm this is actually Jimmy Hayden and not Kevin Higgins. Jimmy, it's time in the booth, buddy. You got a copy?
I got you.
Well, buddy, I know it's not quite what you wanted, but at the end of the day, you keep your championship hopes alive. Coming up P2 here. A quiet run at the start, but you really turned the heat up there in the back half of that race. So why don't you walk us through it?
Yeah, I knew tire preservation was going to be the key here for, to finish up front with just how tight the car was. So I was letting those guys fight for the first half of that long run we had. And then I could tell they just fell off a cliff at one point, and I knew it was time to, turn up the heat. So I got by those guys, ran Gavin down, and didn't quite have enough to get around them. I was hoping to try to get down pit road the lap before him or something to try to do an undercut or whatnot, but he caught me going down and pulled down ahead of me. So, but yeah, once I caught him there at the end, just the dirty air was too much for me to make a run on him. So, fortunately, didn't have anything for him, but it was a good, it was a good race and had a good time with these guys.
So I know ultimately, I do want to say your pit call as far as when you called it, strategically, I think that was awesome. I know you definitely weren't expecting Gavin to kind of take the literal 5 seconds that he had and cover you off, because I know I wasn't. I was very surprised. I know Cam and I both thought he had a speeding penalty. Was the strategy, like, did you think about maybe doing that earlier? Like, with how much quicker you were at the end of the run right before pit stops? Was pitting sooner on your mind, or were you kind of trying to just get as late as possible?
I was trying to run the run as long as possible without letting the guys behind like undercut us too bad. And I kind of just put a hard limit at myself at lap 70. And so I called it, late enough to where it was still safe, but I was surprised to see him hustle it down into pit road and not get a penalty or anything. I was impressed. I gave him a lot of credit for that. But yeah, no, that was I was trying to get down a lap or two ahead of him, but didn't quite make it happen.
And I know we talked about your championship hope still being alive, obviously finishing second. Caleb being the points leader, who had, I believe it was 6 points over Gavin at the time. And then you only being a little bit behind Gavin. I think this completely busts it open for you to be able to steal this thing going into Homestead next week. How do you feel about a track like Homestead? Obviously, it's very historic in the real life NASCAR, but it's pretty awesome on the sim. How do you think that's going to play to your strengths or maybe your weaknesses?
Yeah, no, I haven't run there in a while, but I always do like racing there. We'll see how this car runs there. If it's anything like this week where the car's maybe a little tight and you got to manage your tire, I'm hoping that plays to my strengths. I see it looks like the points updated. I'm 10 points behind both Gavin and Caleb. It looks like they're tied. So I gotta hope for a miracle. I'm not gonna wish for them to wreck or anything, but I gotta run the best race I can, and hopefully that's enough. But it's been a great season racing with those guys, and honestly, the whole field's been great. Really enjoyed this season, so looking forward to wrapping it up next week and see what I can do.
All right, buddy. Well, before we let you go, anybody want to shout out, give thanks to?
Thanks to you guys, up in the booth and doing race control and whatnot. You guys do a great job. Appreciate you guys putting on the show every week. Shout out to all the Abbott Motorsports guys. They kind of adopted me towards the later half of the season since I lost my buddy Dylan to the race shop. He's working on his modified, so I've lost my teammate. But yeah, no, shout out to all those guys, and thank you guys for putting on a show. So, well, hopefully I'll be talking to you guys next week.
All right, buddy. Well, we appreciate the kind words, and we'll wish you some good luck as you head to Homestead and fight for a championship.
Thank you.
That was Jimmy Hayden, your second place finisher, and I believe we've already seen some congratulations for neighbor Pete. Why don't we get the race winner up here, Cam?
Yep, I got him right here. I'm sure we'll get a shout out for him. But Gavin Higgins, this is Cam in the booth. You got a copy?
Yep.
Well, man, not much to say about that run tonight. You came out here, you got to the lead, and then you really never gave it up after that. You had a big challenger from Jimmy Hayden for a lot of the race. Championship situation, few races back, I'd say it looked kind of bleak, a little bit down and out for you, but you've stormed back into contention coming out of tonight with the points lead tied with Caleb Kumer. We're going into a championship race tied, so NASCAR, eat your heart out. But either way, take us through your night and tell us about how it was from your perspective.
At the beginning of the race, I was kind of aggravated because in these cars on fresh tires, it's like a super speedway on these type of tracks. You can't really pass no one on the inside, and if you try to on the straightaways, they just drag you right back, and it's really annoying. But then that's where saving your stuff comes in. I mean, I think they were running the top early in the runs, and then that's where they would burn their stuff off, and I was just keeping nice and steady on the bottom. And with this playoff picture, I just look back at the one race, I think it was Las Vegas, I had computer problems. I finished 20th, and I honestly thought I was out there, but now knowing next week all I really have to do is finish in front of Caleb, so it'd make it a little bit easier for me, just to keep track during the race.
Yeah, just to touch base on next week's race at Homestead, you kind of mentioned it already, but what your strategy kind of somewhat looks like. But Are you going to what's the focus there? Is it going to be focused on just keeping the long run speed in it, or are you going to try to qualify out in front and just kind of control the race from there?
I would hope to just control the race because, I mean, this past 2 weeks in ARCA, we had long runs to finish the race. I mean, this is like the only series we could really do that in. It's actually really fun. But yeah, I mean, I'll just probably keep on doing what I've been doing. It seems like I'm really good on the long run. So I'll just probably take it easy in the beginning and see where everything falls.
Absolutely, and Homestead is one of those tracks that definitely does reward the long run much more than the short run pretty much every time. So not a bad strategy to have though. But fourth win of the season, Gavin. Before we let you go, any shout outs? We know you have no sponsors, but shout outs.
Shout out for you guys for putting this on. Shout out for doing the league. Shout out my mom, dad, brother, sister, my grandparents, Jay for fixing the computer, and neighbor Pete.
All right, I already saw some congratulations from neighbor Pete on the broadcast, but Gavin, good one out there tonight. It's been fun watching you up to this point in the season. Good luck next week, and we'll see where everything plays out.
Thanks.
All right, well, Ty, you heard it from Gavin himself. We are doing it better here in ARCA than other series, apparently. We get long runs and can actually finish the race under green flag conditions, which is, well, pretty bad for the development series to be outshining everyone else. But here we are. Another good run from Gavin Higgins. He captures his fourth win of the season, and I am so excited about next week's race at Homestead. You are going to enjoy that as the viewers. Everyone, I believe that's going to be a good one to come watch. So 7:30 p.m. next Tuesday. It will be a bar burner at, well, I can't say it again because Chris Wright, he did disagree with me, but I will say it's at least one of the better ways. It's a better place to end the season than Phoenix, so we'll say that. But I think that's all we have for you guys tonight. So, any final thoughts, Ty?
I mean, what a season, man! And it comes down to next week. You talk about the two guys that Caleb Pacumer, Gavin Higgins, both two guys who are not eligible to come back next season with all the wins that they've got this season. And you talk about Gavin with the computer issues at Las Vegas. This championship could be a completely different had that not happened. He could be basically locked into the championship right now. And it could look completely different. But you talk about things happening for a reason. This has a chance to be an all-timer next week for this ARCA development series. So, as Cam said, be sure to tune back. It's going to be an all-timer, folks.
It sure is. And, with that, I believe that that is going to be our 10th ARCA season in the Elite Series. So we'll crown our 10th season, or our 10th championship, 10th champion. Oh my God, we're falling apart here, boys. 10th champion in the ARCA series, and if you look at the list of names that have gone through the series, made up to Cup, been Cup champions. Okay, well, we got to end this broadcast. Cup champions, Xfinity champions, whatever you want to call them. The ARCA series has absolutely been a great development series to have those drivers come through the ranks. But from myself, from Ty, from Chris Wright, you guys have a great night.